Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. Last week I got the opportunity to interview Megan Peta Hill for the channel. We talked about a variety of projects, including We Are Zombies, a really bizarre film, but it's worth watching, and it definitely is very unique, and her appearance on The Flash and other roles as well, and even her love of comic books. I had a great time chatting with her, and I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Here we go. Thank you so much, Megan, for speaking with me today. First of all, before we get into it, how are you doing?
I'm really well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm awake. I'm alive. I got some caffeine in me. I'm ready to go, you know?
I'm gonna work on getting the caffeine sorted. So
Okay, good. Yeah, it was kind of a crazy day at work. I'm like, I gotta wake up. Like, I got stuff to do. I can't be,
that's fair. That's fair.
Customer service, it's you gotta be awake,
Oh yeah. You can't snooze through that job, sadly. But
Exactly. Okay, so first of all, before we get into anything else, I want to get into We Are Zombies, which a very unique film. I'll say that. Like, I didn't know what to expect. How did you get involved in this project?
Yeah, it's definitely unique, and I think that's why I love it so much, and why the second I read the script, I was like, oh, I have to do this. So my manager at the time sent me the script to have a read through, and just reading the one description log line, I was like, what is this movie? I need to know more. and yeah, and I met with the two of the three directors over Zoom. It was during COVID times, and it was just an immediate yes, because there's such an incredible directing team, and the script was fascinating, and yeah, so unique.
Is that what really draws you to projects, is like the actual character, or is it the overall story and what part you can play in it? Like, what's the thing that draws you in?
Honestly, both, and because I feel like the first thing is the story. Is this something that speaks to me? Is it something that I, as an audience member, like, would be drawn to? I mean, of course, I work on things that are for different target audiences. But if the story draws me in, I feel like I can connect with that. But yeah, typically, ultimately, it comes down to the character themselves. And recently, it seems to be a lot of like tough, no nonsense, unapologetic, like yes, and Maggie definitely fits that bill.
Yeah, I really liked your arc and kind of the journey and your dialogue. I just love how you really go about. I think it's really fascinating. Is that something that you're always trying to do, is to like push yourself when it comes to like delivering on performances, like to like really, because like you said, like you're really going for those hard edged characters now. Does that like does it speak to you more now, or just something you've always wanted to do, maybe?
I always wanted to play everything, and I still do. I feel like my job is to be a chameleon, and I don't want to sort of just do one thing. All genres, all character types really sort of excite me in different ways. But yeah, with Maggie, the way they wrote the dialogue, just the rhythm and cadence in which her dialogue was written sort of lent itself to, her tough attitude. So the dialogue, the way they wrote it, actually made my job a whole lot easier. But ultimately, like, I really want to interrogate the language in the script and go, why does she use this word instead of that word? And you learn a whole lot about Maggie based on her language choices in certain moments. Yes.
Yeah. Was there any improv on set? I'm curious. Like, based on like the tone of this, it feels like there could be some improv,
There was wiggle room available, but it is a tricky one when it comes to comedy, because sometimes some of those jokes, they land because of the really specific writing and the rhythm to it, so that we do get that payoff. But there was definitely a little bit of wiggle room, especially with some of Maggie's swear words. So I actually, as part of my preparation for this role, I was writing down in my phone, in my notes app, like double banger, like fun swear words. So I got to play with those on set, which was lovely.
Well, that's always fascinating, because it's a way to maybe help you down the road. Like, it's something new you've learned to, like, oh, I can do this in the future for other roles, like if it works, if it makes sense. So that's always a plus, to learn something. With this film is so, like, as you're saying, unique because of the fact that it's multiple genres kind of mashed together. Do you like those more because there's more wiggle room and more things to kind of do more, or do you prefer straight drama, straight horror, or comedy? Like, or do you like the mashing of genres in projects?
I feel like I don't really have a preference too much. I don't know. I'm sort of selfish. I kind of want to do everything.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
But with this film in particular, I think why it works so well and why it's getting the reviews that it's getting is because it is so genre bending. It means that I can be more playful in finding Maggie, and that like she can be hilarious and tough and heartfelt all at once. The film itself doesn't get put in a box. It does make it then maybe a little trickier to define or talk about. But I'm like, those are the films that I personally am drawn to, the ones that aren't like formulaic or stories where I don't know where it's going and I have no idea if this is going to be a satisfying ending or not. And that's sort of the same with this film is like, it's sort of an unconventional end to the story, as it were. So.
And we're seeing more of that now in the industry. A24 has really pioneered off films that you don't know what to expect. And I think that's like the new thing, I think, is just to kind of throw people off. Like, I don't know if you heard of a movie called Men that came out a couple years ago. That's a trippy film, and it's very like just off the walls towards the end. And I think those kind of movies, like We Are Zombies, like it's different. Like I can't remember a movie I've seen recently that's like We Are Zombies in terms of like everything that's going on. I'm like, this is such a bizarre trip, but I'm glad that it exists because, you know, it's another person out there creating a story, and you think they got to be a part of it, and a pretty big part of it. I really enjoyed the ride, even though I didn't know what was happening. Like, what is going on here?
And I have no idea what's going to happen next. And that's what it was like when I was reading the screenplay for the first time. My mom was actually visiting me at the time, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table reading the screenplay and giggling and being like, "What is going on?" And she's like, "You have to do this. Like, you're so inspired by this script." She's like, "You have to do this." Yeah.
Well, that's good that she pushed you. I mean, it sounds like you would have enjoyed it anyways and done it, but it's good to have someone else go, I see your response to the actual story. You have to go for it. And that's really good. And also have that support as well. Like people that want to push you to do better and to do more. Speaking of that, like what was your first initial spark of interest to get into this business? Because it's always fascinating. People, it's either going to theater or they watch movies when they were growing up. Like what was that thing for you?
I didn't have one, oddly enough. Because I have been asked this question once or twice before, and I just always knew. There was never like a moment or it, like as far as I can remember to being like 3 or 4 years old, it was just always what I wanted to do, which is kind of odd because there's no one in my family who works in the arts at all. I mean, my mom is creative and that she does crocheting and knitting and handwork and things like that, and my sister dabbles with some visual arts, but really, you know, there's a lot of medicine and a lot of aviation in my family, and there's no professional artists at all. So I have no idea where it comes from at all. But yeah, I was maybe 10 or 11, and my mom was like, okay, fine, I'll put you in a theater company. Gosh, would you please stop asking? So, yeah.
At least you were persistent. Like you knew what you wanted to do. You know, that's good.
I used to get, and like this is, you know, small town Australia, and I would get like the weekly newspaper rag that was delivered, and I would go to the job section at like 10 years old and see if there was anything in there that I thought was like creative related, and I was like, can I do this? And my mom's like, this is a full-time adult job as like, you know, creative director of a company. No, you can't do that.
You kind of need to do a thing called school. Like you kind of have to do that, do some math, do some English. Like, you know, you have to do all this. You can't just go work. But but hey, you had that in your head. Like I want to do something creative. And this is I think the most creative thing you could do, maybe outside of writing books, but you're a part of storytelling and you're helping it, you know?
Absolutely. And that is actually a transition I'm making. I'm working on I'm writing 2 projects right now at the moment with 2 different writing partners. So which is a new venture, but so exciting. Yeah.
So you're writing a movie? Writing movies?
I'm writing a series, and I'm writing a short film that would be the calling card for a feature. So.
So it'd be like one of those things where it's like a proof of concept, and then you could go to do a feature. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's quite the idea. So we're just gonna make sure it's gonna float first before.
Well, of course. That's exciting. Okay, so a series and a short film. Like, was that always something in your head too about I want to actually create my own things, or is that something that over time as you're working on other projects, like I want to try to see if I can develop something?
Yeah, well, I always wanted to direct. That's really where I'm going. Yeah,
Okay.
because acting is definitely my first love.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I was like, well, I'll act first, and then I'll just transition into directing. So
Hmm.
I'm studying at the moment cinematography and all of that, so that I can take that step. And in sort of moving toward that, these writing opportunities presented themselves, and then it was like, okay, well, then that will help my ability to direct too. And just
Hmm.
the more that I know, and the more I diversify, and it turns out I love writing. And yeah.
Okay. What was your passion of directing coming about because of like dealing with directors on set and seeing how they coordinated and orchestrated and worked a set? Did that make you go, like, that probably gave you some pointers like, okay, I should do that, maybe not do that, because
Yeah,
directors all work differently, so you got to find what's best for you.
absolutely. And there are directors who are very technical, which is wonderful. And then there's directors who are so much like they feel like they're on the field playing with you, the actor, and
Hmm.
both are fantastic. But I noticed when I was on set working that I wasn't watching the other actors, I was watching the director. And I was saying,
Mm.
what are they doing, and what's their thought process, and what's the things that they're doing? And so I was like, oh, okay, I can feel that that's inevitably where I'll end up. So
Well, I'm excited to see what is going to be. I mean, the series and short film, okay. I mean, the fact you're working on two, like, that's really ambitious. But if the idea is there and you think this is going to work, don't throw it away.
Mhm.
Like, you got to keep pushing.
That's exactly right. And I don't write in isolation. I have writing partners
Hmm.
for each project, and
Hmm.
I definitely could not do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. It's such a collaborative art form, at least for me in my
Hmm.
experience. So
Yeah, especially with the series because you're dealing with multiple characters and episode. Like, there's a lot moving pieces to, like, where do you end an episode? Like, that's a thing. A lot of, like, where do you end a story and pick up the next? Like, what is that? Like, it's a process, but that's exciting. That is
yeah.
exciting. I was looking at your credits. This blew my mind. You were in your first. I think it's your first credit. I think Chronicles of Narnia 3. Like, really? You were in the Chronicles of Narnia? I'm like, what?
At like 13 years old. Yeah,
That's
I was. I was. And I was like, I have made it.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And my family was so sweet when the film finally came out. We went and
Mhm.
saw it in like VIP and everything.
Yeah.
And my dad went to like the local store and got all this like red cardboard and like laid it out from like the bottom of the stairs all the way out onto the driveway like a red carpet. It was so cute.
Aw.
I'm in it for like a second.
But I mean, you're in it. That's pretty. That's
I
pretty exciting. How was it being on set? Do you remember that time on set, or was it just?
Yeah, I do remember it because it was the first like big professional set that I'd worked on, and I
Mhm.
was just in awe. I was in awe at all the moving pieces and all the crew and all of the technical things, and I remember watching the leads because they were also really really young at the time, and
Mhm.
just being like so inspired by them, and it was a wonderful experience,
I
very
mean,
formative.
that probably pushed you like I got to do more. Like it's like I made it, so now like okay, now you got to get into it.
That's
And
exactly right.
you've worked on a variety of projects, and one that I really noticed that stood out to me. My wife and I we watched Nancy Drew like for the first time, and
Oh
I
yeah.
saw you were in that show. I'm like, oh my, like that's awesome. I love that because I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, yeah, she was. Yeah, they cast it so well. I mean, she was phenomenal. I mean, the whole cast is wonderful, but she was
Hmm.
fantastic. Yeah, it was a really fun show. I was really lucky. I think because it was like just as projects were picking up on the other side of like COVID, things opening up
Yeah.
again, and so
Hmm.
yeah, it was a great one to work
And
on.
you're able to jump on that, and you're also in Riverdale, which
Mhm.
that show has gone through so many like storylines and stuff. And I actually went back was watching some of the clips that you were in. And I'm like that's really cool because like that's a show that started off very simple and then went
Mhm.
crazy, and you're like thrown into all this chaos. I'm like this is like, but it was really cool to see that because that show's been going for so long, and they were still finding ways to keep it creative. And so that was cool you're
Absolutely.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great project to work on, and I think because my character was very ended up a little bit controversial because I spoiler alert, I break up Betty and Jughead, and so the fans weren't super stoked about my
Hmm.
character for sure. But they were so wonderful to work with. Yeah.
I mean, with that kind of character, your character directly affected something major in the show, and that shows an impact. And is that like, do you ever come across projects that you maybe are not that interested in because maybe it doesn't speak to you, or like it doesn't really impact the story? So is my character necessary, or is my attempt at going for it really necessarily? Is that something you think about, or is it more so case by case basis?
Yeah, I feel like my job is to sort of work as a detective and figure out. I mean, writers are. I mean, I'm learning this as I'm like baby new to the writing world, but I'm like writers are so intelligent and everything is so specific and for a purpose. And so I'm like, if something to me, I go, I don't know why this character is here. I'm like, okay, well then that's me not digging deep enough to understand why this character is important and what their ultimate function is in moving the story forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always definitely curious to go like, well, am I here to hinder our hero, or am I here to, you know, support our hero in any way? And that's sort of like the main first step in, you know.
Yeah, because it's always, it may not be on the surface. It's always about like digging deeper because, you know, because if you look just at the surface, maybe there's something you're missing, or, I mean, it's just another role, but I mean, it could lead to something because you never know. You could jump on a show and then all of a sudden, boom, you're a series regular. And if you would never have attempted it, maybe you never know, right? It's all about those opportunities, and I think that's really important. There's one show that I saw on your IMDb. I'm like, I have to talk about this.
Oh no, what is it?
Oh, nothing bad. At least I don't think so. The Flash. The Flash. That is a show I love to death. And when I saw who you played, because I'm like, she was on The Flash. I'm like, oh, she was one of the Royal Flush Gang. Okay. How was that being on set? Because that's pretty cool. Because I love that show so much. Like, how was it being on set?
That was such a dream job. When I found out I booked that job, I was on the phone with my friend when I found out, and the two of us just squealed so hard because we're such comic book nerds. And so I was as a fan of comic books, I was so excited. But also this character is tough and I mean a super villain and based on the original comic books and also I got to do, you know, some stunts and things like that, and it's just wonderful. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm jealous because I was like, I want to be on that show, and I never got the call. And I didn't do anything. I was just on Twitter going, guys, can I be on? Can I come? Come on, guys, come on.
I feel like they could have gotten you in there somewhere. Like
I should have. I could have just been like, oh, like shocked or something happens.
Right?
You know, did something. That's
cut to you looking devastated. Yeah.
It didn't put it in somewhere that doesn't make sense. Like Iris says something to Barry, like, Barry, I don't know what we're gonna do. Cut to me, like, who was that guy? Like, I don't know. He wanted to be in the show. We were just trying to be nice. I don't know who that guy is.
I feel like it was the final season. It was fine.
It's fine. yeah. We were storing everything in. Whatever. When you were auditioning, did you know you were going for that role, or was it kind of secretive? Because I know a lot of times with these kind of shows, they're kind of they name it differently.
Yes, it was very secretive. I knew that what the project was that I was reading for, but I didn't know the character, and they gave me mock sides. And the scene that they gave me was very physical. There was a lot of physical action required in the scene itself, which it becomes tricky in a self-tape situation where it's like just you and a blue wall. But yes, I had a feeling I was either a supervillain or a superhero based on the sides that I was given, but I had no idea who I was, which I think probably worked in my favor, because if I knew that I was part of the Royal Flush Gang, I think I would have gotten way too excited or like overthought it too much, because I was already such a fan. So, well,
yeah, because it's about, if you know ahead of time, it's going to change how you read for it. It's going to change how you do the self tape. So maybe it's bad, because if you saw, it's hypothetical. I know Melissa Benoist was already Supergirl, but if you thought this is Supergirl, like then you would probably play it very differently and go, no, and then you would. So you never know.
Absolutely. And going in a little bit blind, all you can do is just be truthful to what's on the page and just bring to life what's actually there, versus if you've got a preconceived idea based on like what I've read in the comic books, that might not match what this character is going to be in this iteration, because there are differences, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you brought up comic books. Like, okay, this is exciting for me.
Oh no.
What are some of your favorite characters? Is it DC, Marvel, both? Is it
all of the above? All of the above.
Okay. All right.
And it's interesting that there's been a little bit of I don't know, by accident, by happenstance, I have worked on a number of comic book projects. We Are Zombies being one of them. So Marvel, if you're listening.
I mean, they are still continuing to cast and do new projects. I mean, they're going to Comic-Con this year. I mean,
so
could announce
something. I can move things around in my schedule. I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a good question to ask. If Marvel was going to be calling, who would you like to play if you were getting a call from Marvel? Because we have X-Men coming up. We have a lot of stuff that's not been touched yet.
I know. Well, it's hard because some of my favorites have already been brought to life, and then you're like, well, I can't do that because I can't compete compared to ScarJo. Are you kidding me?
Oh, you would Black Widow? Why not?
Black Widow is my dream. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
And you know what? In the Flash, I did get to do the superhero land, so I feel like that she does. I did get to do that, so I was very happy with that.
That felt good.
That felt good.
Just thinking about it, I think Shadowcat.
Really? You're feeling Shadowcat vibes?
I'm feeling Shadow. I'm also feeling Jean Grey. Not gonna lie.
Really?
I think it'd be Jean Grey. Yeah, I can feel it. I mean,
I think we can pitch this.
Yeah, I'll call Kevin Feige right now. We'll get this announced at Comic-Con. We'll do.
Yeah. You're on his speed dial, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows me. He's like, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Yeah, me and Feige are tight. Talk every day. Because I could definitely because eventually you're going to have to go the route if you're doing Jean Grey. You got to go the route of Phoenix. So that's going to come into play. So you got to be prepared for that.
That's true. It's true. That's true. Yeah, so I feel like that's something I need to start working on now.
Yeah, start preparing your Phoenix kind of arc because you're going to have to do that. You got to go all flame and stuff, do all that. And then eventually, if you're going to be Jean Grey, hypothetically, or even Shadowcat, you might become one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So you got to get prepared for that too. You're
just like building out my dream. You're just laying it out there for me.
I'm trying to manifest it for you. I'm trying to come on.
Okay, we can manifest. Okay, I'm here for that.
Yeah. I'm trying to help you out. Because I could definitely see you doing that. Because I think you did great in The Flash. I really enjoyed your character, and I think they should have used you more. Just to be honest, they should have used you more.
They did leave it open-ended, so there was a little bit of like, are they bringing us back or what's happening?
I think they should do a Royal Flush Gang spinoff show. I know the Arrowverse, that stuff's done, but James Gunn running DC, James, just bring Royal Flush Gang. Just bring them back.
We've already got, a nice quartet going on. We're ready to go. Yeah.
You could be the Royal Flush Gang in the new DCU. You could just show up in Batman. You could show up in something, I mean, show up in Lanterns, whatever. That new show they're doing, whatever. That's fine.
I'm sure nobody's going to bat an eyelid if we just rock up on set one day. It's fine.
Yeah, costume. Yeah, in costume. Don't say anything. Just walk in and go, hey, we're here to shoot. Shoot what? The movie. What do you mean? We got a call. Did you? Well, technically, no, but we thought we did, so we're here.
We manifested this.
We manifested the call. And we thought James would like it, so we're here to shoot.
You're not going to say no, are you? Yeah.
No. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask this because I always find this fascinating with people in the business. Is there a particular genre you're drawn to more? Because I know you said you want to do everything, but is there like is it drama or horror or comedy or like that speaks to you in terms of like what you watch or you want to be in?
Yeah. What I watch and what I want to be in actually align. I mean, I consume everything, but I just saw Inside Out 2 last night. Like I watch everything. Got me in the feels, by the way. Sobbed my little heart out.
Yeah.
But psychological thrillers and mysteries are 100% what I love. I would say my dream role would be like Kate Winslet's role in Mare of Easttown. Just like rough, lived a life detective, but it's like character driven and messy, and that's where I want to go. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. And with you saying that, technically, if they're going to have to reboot Nancy Drew at some point, and they're going to need a new Nancy Drew. So let's just manifest that you're going to be Nancy Drew now. You're just going to go solve mysteries, or
that's right.
I mean, at some point they're going to do another live action Scooby Doo.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, you could be Daphne, and There you
That
go.
could be fun. That could be fun.
Or you could voice Scooby Doo, whatever you want to do. I think you could do that too. Just voice Scooby.
I could voice Scooby.
Yeah, and
I'm
just
feeling
yeah. Or you could play Shaggy, whatever. You can be Fred and Velma. You play all five. Let's do that. Just play all five. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna act like this is normal. We're not even gonna say anything. Just like,
Yeah, we're gonna do like an Orphan Black sort of situation with Scooby Doo. I will just play all of the parts. I will completely chameleon myself. Tatiana Masley kind of nailed it, but like I'm gonna take it to a whole other level with Scooby Doo.
You did say that your job is being a chameleon, so who's to say you can't play all five? And you'll play like the monster too. Like you'll be the monster as well.
Obviously, yeah.
And you'll play the random sheriff that's involved for no reason, just to be there. You'll be Scrappy Doo as well. Why not? You'll be Scrappy.
Why not?
Yeah, just Scrappy Doo.
You're just making my instrument very flexible over there. I like it.
And then in the after credit scene, we're going to bring in the Royal Flush Gang just to have them in there. Or, and then we'll have.
Because they need to clean everything.
Yeah, we'll have Grant Gustin show up as the Flash. Guys, we're in the wrong timeline. And you're like, no, we're here now. We're going to go hang out with Scooby Doo and the gang, which is you. So it all works out.
That's a good crossover. The Flash meets Scooby Doo. I would watch that show.
I think they've done that because I know Batman's crossover Scooby Doo. I think Flash has. I think in one of the new animated shows, I think the Flash has crossed over. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Or
That's awesome.
They think it's Grant Gustin's Barry Allen. It's you as the Flash. Why not?
That's right. I also play Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing everybody. I think this is great. We're just going to get you for every role ever. Why not?
Perfect. Nothing is going to go wrong. Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah. The reason why Spider-Man 4 has been delayed is because you're actually playing Spider-Man. You're replacing Tom as Peter Parker, so that's working out there for you too. Like everything.
I'm not supposed to say anything.
But I got a call last week from Feige. I'm playing Jean Grey and Shadowcat and Spider-Man. And
my schedule's very busy. Yes.
And they're getting me prepped for Professor X too. It's a big deal. It's a lot. It's a lot, guys. Well, any upcoming projects you're working on that you can talk about? I know a lot of times there's NDAs or you're just not ready to announce something. Anything, or is you just kind of chill?
I do have a film coming out. I don't know dates yet, called Boot Camp. It's based on a book that's wonderful. Okay. Oh. And I am currently in Montreal for 4 or 5 months on a job, but it's very, very hush hush. But it's sort of like the role of a lifetime. So
really,
I'm very excited to be able to talk about that when the time comes.
Ooh, okay. I mean, hey, I'm excited. Okay, I might have to reach out and go. Okay, I need to talk again because I got to know what is going on. What
I know. See, I haven't even told my mom. Like, I'm not even on my mom. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that NDA is strong. You know.
That is. They are tight with that NDA. Absolutely.
Wow. I'm gonna laugh so hard if you're in a Marvel project and we've just been joking, and then like that's what it is. Oh, Megan's in a Marvel movie, a Marvel show or whatever, and she like what? And
we were joking about it for half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like laughing, like, ha ha ha. He doesn't know. He better not know.
I'm like, oh my God, what if he knows?
I don't want to spoil. I got to play it up and pretend, but I did get a call, and I auditioned for Kevin Feige, and here I am.
I'm like, Shadowcat. Oh my God, yes.
I'm watching you. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I can talk to you again whenever this thing is announced because I want to know more about this. But I appreciate it. And
thank you very much for having me.
Of course. And it was great chatting with you. This was really fun. And you have a good rest of your day, okay?
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.